So we're going to talk about financial maths in connection with sequence and series. The biggest issue with that topic is to identify how to express the term. But let's talk, how do we see it? How do we approach it? So in life, we have two types of situation. Either we have money or we don't. That's the two types of situation in life. Either you have it or you don't. And that is the same situation in your question, because that is life. So when you have money, you invest. When you don't have money, you take a loan, you borrow. So when it comes to sequence and series and financial maths, we know that we are using a formula for that. So let's just remember the formula. So it is always geometric sequence in financial maths, and our formula for the sum, which is in your table on page 22, that is the formula we are using. So the biggest issue is to identify how do we express our term, our first term. A stands for the first term, and how do we express it? Well, it all goes back to our main formula for the financial maths for compound interest. So that is the formula, and again, that formula is in your table, and that formula is on page 30. Now, so here, that's our basics. That formula is what we are working with. So working with this formula, we have two options to derive. We can either express term in terms of P, which means the payment plus 1 plus interest, multiplied by 1 plus interest to the power of t, which is the time, or we can change that formula for the future payment, and that's the way we express our term. So the question is, and that's what majority of students are struggling with, when are we using this expression and when are we using this expression? Now, I'm going to tell you a very easy way to recognize that. If you are paying in, that's the formula to use. If you are receiving, so if you are receiving, then you are using this formula. Like, what do I mean? If you have, now this is the situation, let's not forget that this is the situation from the point of have money. Okay, so the first thing, we have to identify who has the money. Okay, is it us or is it the bank? So we are looking at that from the point of view who has the money. Now, when it comes to bank and loans, we always going to use that formula, because first the bank invest by giving you a loan, and then they are receiving. So that's why always with banks, that's the formula we're going to use. Now, it's a little bit more difficult to identify it when we have the money. So sometimes we're going to be using this expression and sometimes this expression for the term. So how do we differentiate? Well, if we are paying in every month, so we don't have, we are by paying in, we are investing the money, we have the money, but we are paying in monthly, weekly, yearly, whatever it is, then we are using this expression. When we have the money, we invested, and then we are receiving the money, well, that is the expression we're going to use. So in practice, what does that mean? Usually this expression is for the situation where I am paying into the fund, financial fund, the investment, the pension, and this situation is where I am having a big lump sum and I am receiving, therefore I'm investing, and therefore I am receiving the money from that fund that was invested. Now that's the same situation with the bank. That's why we use that when it comes to mortgages and loans, because bank has the money, they give us the money, they invested that money into us, and therefore they are receiving. That's why we are using that as the first expression. So simple. First, identify who has the money. You know, if the bank has the money, then you know that's the way the term will be expressed. If we have the money, then we have to identify the two options. Is it we are paying in monthly, weekly, or yearly? Yearly is very rarely, but we could. Or have we received the money? Are we receiving it weekly, monthly, yearly again? Yeah, then we will go with that formula. And that way you will not make mistake. And now how do I remember? Paying in, P. So that's how I remember that, because if I am paying in, then I know it's an expression with P. And then if I'm receiving, well, then it is the second expression. Hopefully now that makes things a little bit more clear for you. I'm going to go to the question in next video. I will go to the question to explain that on an example. But if you want to find out more, have a look at my website, Maths Made Easy Grinds.